Disclaimer.
History is not safe for work, and neither is HistoricHole.
This podcast is uncensored and contains explicit language.
Welcome to Historic Hole. My name is David, and as always, I'm joined by Jason and Michael.
Hello.
Hello. And we are HistoricHole. We take a funny look at history and events and people and things and all sorts of stuff. And today is a part 2. We do a lot of those.
Recently, yes, but we will be continuing Nikola Tesla, who, on a little recap, was a little Croatian boy who eventually made his way to America, working because he loved electricity and hated horses.
On his gravestone.
And we're caught up.
Yeah, we're caught up. It's around 1887 when him and George Westinghouse, who owned an electric company, teamed up against Thomas Edison.
Lightning struck in the sky.
Little DC-AC current war is currently going on.
In the past. But it's called the current war.
Yes.
But many things come to current day.
So there was a lot of... Edison threw around a lot of accusations about AC electricity being more dangerous.
He was throwing accusations around like Zeus throws thunderbolts.
Okay, the electricity-themed insults or whatever going to come flying this episode. Michael's not going to let up on that
Nope,
horse.
just get used to it. I'm like a storm.
This horse skeleton in the desert is baking.
So on a little propaganda campaign, Edison and his underlings were just electrocuting animals in the street, claiming that AC power is more dangerous.
Shitty.
They were paying children to bring them, dogs, just so they could electrocute them.
Hey, little Timmy. I got some pence for you.
They even managed to get the first electric chair to be powered by a Westinghouse AC unit.
That's where Mike Vick got the idea.
So people would always associate AC power with the death penalty.
So he's again, this is what people always say about Edison is, he's a marketing genius because he apparently just made people think that AC was deadly.
Yeah. And
just associated with death.
Yeah, overblown accusations about, line workers getting electrocuted. They were saying it's upwards of 30, 40 people, and it's like 3 over a period of
Still not good, but
3 or 4 years. Yeah, I mean.
And they, to be fair, they were like licking the wires.
But
that's how they figured that out. Well, that's probably not good.
But while all this is going on, Nikola Tesla doesn't really care because he's just inventing shit. He's working on his little AC motor that he has.
Plugging in stuff.
A deal with Westinghouse. He gets invited to
this man responsible for the wave of electrocuted animals across America. Doesn't even care.
It's like they show the wave going across the map, and they're all just every animal dead, just a little lightning bolt, as it goes across the country.
He's like he was hoping that they would electrocute the horses.
There just weren't enough.
And even with all the bad propaganda, the Westinghouse company was still asked to work at the World's Fair in Chicago in 1892, which they celebrated the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus arriving in America.
That racist bastard.
And while Tesla was there, he was just demonstrating his little... He was started to think about doing things wirelessly. So he had a little display about... He had 2 curtains, aluminum curtains, that were hooked to wires, but then he was holding a glass rod that lit up without touching anything whenever he placed it in between the foil, which amazed people.
I mean, it's still cool. I would still watch it and be like, that's cool. How's that work?
And he sort of started working on what would eventually become neon lights. Like he started thinking about all that. He's like, we could definitely transmit power all across.
And stoned party kids all over the world thanked him.
All right, he changed rave culture forever. Thank you, Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. They pray to him. At raves.
But in
Nikola.
This is for you, Nicole. They flip the switch.
he's still working on his vengeance. But to back up a little, in 1890 there was a slight financial crisis. So Westinghouse, all of his debtors started calling in.
As they do.
Yeah.
In a financial crisis.
Oh, give me my money, please.
Remember that thing that owed me?
So he eventually, in early 1891, came to Tesla. Was like, "Hey, man, if we don't work a new deal," because he was giving him he had a license on his patent, and he was also paying him royalties. So they wanted to renegotiate the deal. And he was just like, "Hey, man, if we don't do this, I'm going to lose the company. Then you're going to have to deal with bankers. And I don't know if you want to do that." And Nikola thought, well, he's promoting my machine. I'm not going to be able to do it as well as he is. So he just shredded all of the things. Like, he still had the license on the patent, but
Shred that.
all the royalties, got rid of all the royalties. Lost about worth $300 million.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. But I mean, at the
Lying to
time,
the
Nikola was still getting paid because of the
Contract.
the contract.
Because of that cool trick he was doing with the pole. Make a few buck skis.
So, propaganda is still flinging about between Edison and Westinghouse, but they eventually do work on the Niagara Falls lighting,
We're going to light it on fire.
working on the generators and whatnot.
All the fish, dead fish, start just going over the falls.
But eventually, so they buy the patent out for $216,000 because they just want to, separate Nikola because he's started to work on his own thing. His dreams of wireless communication, he's really starting to get into that. So in the summer of 1889,
some say all of our dreams are wireless. Someone shoot me. Oh my God. Just do it. Oh, it's still there. Good. We haven't used that gun in a while.
I have the gun.
it's dusty.
Gonna clean it.
We haven't needed it. Like, there just hasn't been a joke that bad. Like,
You're welcome.
Borderline. He traveled to Paris, where he heard about Heinrich Hertz's discovery of radio waves, and he was like, "Well, that's the future there. Like, that's how you use that technology to wirelessly communicate with around the world."
None of that shit exists.
Yeah. So he started. He had a laboratory still in New York. He started bouncing around a few because he's starting to run out of money.
Hey man, can I use your laboratory tonight?
can I crash in your lab?
Right. He had to vacate a few residences because he just couldn't pay rent.
I like how he's just got residences all over the place. Don't really feel bad for you if you've got multiple.
They always found him because it was the only one with lights on.
Working all the time, Nikola was. And he was also losing investors because, Edison sort of won the current war.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
Campaign.
So everyone's sort of leaning away
Abandoning.
Abandon ship.
Yeah, jump ship.
So he's, coming on hard times, but, still has.
Falling on hard times.
Yes.
Coming on hard times.
Coming on hard times.
You don't want to do that. That's inappropriate.
Also in 1891, he became a
This
U.S.
is a
citizen.
PG podcast.
There's no coming on anything around here, especially hard times.
So around the mid 1990s, he was working on.
Hold on.
We're going back.
1990s.
We're going back into
To the 1990s?
The mid 1990s.
18.
I was like, we're going back to the 1990s.
In the mid 1990s, there was a band.
Yeah,
called
called
Nirvana.
Yeah, and I was like, and they used the power of Tesla to create grunge.
They used the power of rock.
I like how Jason was definitely like, yeah, we're going back in time.
Yeah, why not?
To the 1990s, which is,
Technically, still back in time.
it's true.
But in 18,
We're not in the 1990s.
1894, he started investigating something he referred to as the invisible energy, after seeing some damaged
Horses.
photos.
Oh.
Yeah, no, horses would have no effect.
Of horses.
It'd be like, good.
It's like, no, it worked.
Damaged film. Yeah. So he started investigating that, but he's
Sounds like he's just kind of getting his fingers in all sorts of pies.
he's sort of discovering X-rays here.
The X-ray pie. Have you ever X-rayed a pie?
Actually,
Nope.
supposedly
Either.
doesn't survive long enough.
That's how I cook my pies. I don't have a microwave, just have an X-ray machine.
So he actually discovered X-rays a couple weeks before.
Whoa!
Wilhelm Röntgen came out and said, "Hey, guess what? I found X-rays in the summer of 1895.
I found them.
Discovered them, whatever."
Coming on to hard times and just finding discoveries all over the place. Look at this thing I found. It's an X-ray.
Dude, they were going pretty wild with X-rays back in the day. When they first discovered it, they were just like doing anything with it. Like they didn't
Exactly.
even understand what
Well,
they
yeah,
were
he
doing.
actually started taking notes. It's like it's sort of damaging your skin once you're doing it. He was sort of
But it was probably so cool. Don't you want to like look inside? If you heard about that, it'd be like your kid at the mall. Like, oh, let me look and see what's
Yeah, because they didn't understand what the X-rays were actually doing.
It's like I can see inside.
Oops.
Who cares how that works?
Entire generation just like shot radiation into him.
right.
Look at this new thing. You want to see your bones? Let's shoot radiation.
Never really thought about it, but yeah.
Yeah, he actually also tried to make some an ozone like skin gel. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think that would probably be good for you.
I think the
He
Just
tried.
light on
I
fire.
think the lead bib is was probably a better solution.
He believed that
Put this on.
that if people weren't that smart, that a little shock to the head would spark some neurons in their brains.
And this is where the mad scientist kind of part of every discovery comes into play.
So he actually thought of a plan for
Not if we should.
schools to set up like a contraption for when kids were there. Wirelessly,
Come get your brains
electricity
out, Timmy.
was just sparking, firing things off in their head.
This is like some Lysenkonian level
I know.
fucking thinking here. Holy shit.
I mean, I can see the thinking behind the thinking.
I mean, and I can see the thinking behind deep plowing too. It's like, oh, if you put more seeds in the ground, yeah, and to get deep enough. Yeah, so I mean, the pseudoscience is strong. Like, especially around this area. And this is before
It was
this.
kind of real science. They were trying to figure. They didn't know what was going to happen. How can you figure out that it's not going to work if you zap someone with lightning bolts in the brain?
Well, the contention that zapping somebody's brain like increase their
You don't know until you
intelligence
try it.
yeah.
Yeah.
is totally harebrained. I'm sorry. Like, that is like, no. Like, there's no logical
Electricity
connection.
could solve anything.
I mean, it was pretty cool.
Like, that's
Like,
just
my
that-
kid's stupid, and then you see like that pole that he's holding between the things. Like, it seems like the answer.
I mean, it sounds like at this point Tesla's kind of desperate, so it sounds like he's kind of grasping at straws here. It's just like, well, what if we shock the brain and it makes people smarter?
It's like getting addicted to your own
Like-
product. He's like,
And
"Bzzz," like
if
he's
it like
zapping himself.
somehow worked or something, like I'm sure he would like been able to make money off that.
You
I mean,
think it's like you can be
people
smarter.
made money off that, I'm sure, without even having any science behind it.
It's like Limitless, but without a pill. It's like a lightning gun.
Well, there's all sorts of crap.
Which he also tried to
Snake
develop.
oil salesman back in the day, like
Yeah, so slight lightning gun.
Harness the power of God.
In 1895, his lab burned down.
Oh, I wonder why. There's lightning flying everywhere.
He told the New York Times.
honestly, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. If I'm being real.
But he got back to work and was studying.
He got over it.
Right, he just found a new place to crash,
He was filled with electric fervor.
and so he's
It's electric.
thinking that the Earth is a conductor of electricity. So that's how he's going to wirelessly
Oh my god.
turn the
broadcast a
Earth.
signal around the Earth, is just using the Earth itself as a conduit, to spread the message.
It's like, what if I could X-ray everyone at once?
So
Spread the message.
to that end, he
The message of AC power.
Hide your dogs.
he set up an experimental station in high altitude, in Colorado Springs.
It's the only place they let him do it. They're like, you're gonna blow up a city if you keep doing this shit. In New York.
He did burn a generator off in New El Paso.
Honestly, I'm surprised you didn't do it.
I know, right?
He conducted experiments with a large Tesla coil, which operated in the megavolts, producing artificial lightning and thunder, consisting of millions of volts and discharges of up to 135 feet in length.
Good Lord.
It's like, whoops, one of those is real close. Let's back over here before we hit the switch again.
Sounds like this was like throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks. Like he was just like throwing everything at it.
Throwing toasters in the water, seeing what explodes.
But during his experiments with this thing, he got a weird message in his receiver. It was noise he was hearing. And
You're playing with fire, son.
what people speculate is that it was, I can't remember his first name, but Marconi in Europe
Ennio?
testing his,
I'm gonna fuck with his thing. Like he built his machine simply to send a message, and he finally built a machine that could get the message. He was like, did the Leo thing,
right? So his research into radio waves, being the man who discovers radio here in a couple of years, yeah, that makes sense. But Tesla, didn't realize that was what was happening. So when he was talking to reporters about it, reporters ran with it and was like, he's receiving messages from other planets.
Naturally.
And Tesla's like, maybe. 1901, we have the first transatlantic message being sent by Marconi via radio. Now, Marconi had patents on the radio in Europe, but when he tried to patent it in the U.S., it failed because they were too similar to patents that Tesla had actually already been granted. But
I just want to electrocute.
I just want to electrocute dogs.
no, that was Edison. And
I know, I'm kidding. It was a joke.
From actually,
we don't joke around here at Historical.
With the help of some of Edison's lawyers, Marconi was able to get around some of these patents and thus got his own radio patents.
See, that's another thing that hasn't changed. We're talking about the free press. Lawyers throughout history.
Scum of the earth.
Blood-sucking lawyers.
Scum of the earth. Yeah, I don't get the sense. Like, everyone, man, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Shit is so backwards. Like,
Oh,
people
wow.
like worship lawyers now. I don't understand that. And they do shit like this. They screw Tesla out of patents.
You shit like all of it. Like, when was the last time you have a good lawyer?
Well, yeah.
Other than like Jim Carrey, a liar. And he's not even.
He wasn't even a good lawyer.
He was actually pretty bad. He beat himself up in the middle of court.
Yeah.
He lost that case.
That's right. He was a liar. And he couldn't do
Being
it.
a good lawyer means that you lie.
His career fell apart.
He's a bad lawyer because he told the truth.
Yep.
But he was running out of money. He comes back to New York.
He sounds like he's just been running out of money.
He's been just like lighting
Did he
money
ever
on fire.
actually have money?
I want to see.
he
how
was
conduit of
he was
electricity
finding
money.
some investors, like when he set up Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Westinghouse he's probably riding off some of that Westinghouse money still, maybe.
He's riding the sweet coattails.
He had a little bit of it left.
Yeah, right.
Nest egg.
Well, by now it's gone. He's running out. It's
Opens the
looking
closet.
bleak.
He's running on E.
Yeah. He comes back to New York and
Electricity.
starts making the rounds and finds J.P. Morgan,
Hey,
who decides to lend him some cash.
I got like just cash lying all over the place. I'm JP Morgan.
You need cash? I got cash.
I got liquid cash. Straight out the ground.
I'm liquid.
To achieve his goal, what he devised, he needed a tower to be able to.
That's all megalomaniacs need.
Yes, and
Sir, I will give you whatever you require, but I require a tower.
187 feet,
187 feet.
and it was erected in June of 1902,
It must be erected by June of 1902.
and it was called Wardenclyffe.
And we'll call it Wardenclyffe.
And after he set this place up, he shut all of his other labs down that were scattered around New
There
York.
were still people
Shut
like,
him down.
still people working in them. They all just explode. The doors shut and gas goes in.
Destroy the evidence.
It's like, what? Why do you have to destroy everything, Tesla?
You signed a contract. Didn't read the fine print, I see.
Totally no one did. It's because you tore it up. Literally, as we're signing it, it's going in the shredder. It's like, better sign it.
Sign it quick. Better sign it. Opportunity's going.
So he was also
Golden Cliff.
thinking about experimenting with remote control stuff.
Oh, it sounds like he's just got all sorts of fucking ideas.
Yeah, no, look at this guy.
Had a little public display, and with remote controlled boats in a pond, and everyone didn't know what was happening, so they thought it was magic.
Of course they did.
Kill it! Kill it
It was literally the only way to explain shit back in the day.
Right?
You just be like, hey, oh, magic.
Won't they have thought the light pole was magic?
Yeah, they probably did as well.
Dude, imagine the hysterics. Like, Christ, man. It's like, we really do live in
Literally,
a... we are fortunate. Fortunate.
We're fortunate.
We're fortunate enough to live in a time where it's like we actually understand a lot of things, a lot of phenomenon around the world.
This is being brought to you by electricity.
But like back in the day, like, some shit would happen, like Aurora Borealis or what, like some random shit like lightning or something, and people be like, what the fuck? And they come up with all sorts it's like, God, there's this thing up there, and it's like throwing lightning bolts at it's like, what?
Yeah, especially if you lived like in an arid climate and just happened like that one storm every 10 years rolls through, and you're like, my God, literally. I saw God. We are historical. We like to find people that saw God.
We saw God once.
He tried to sell the idea to the military.
He was homeless on the corner.
And on fire.
And he was shouting, I am God.
So we believed him.
And I took him at face value.
Enough proof for me.
Yeah. I always say don't question, have faith. So,
He tried to sell that idea to the military, remote controlled torpedoes and such.
Oh, my God.
But the military turned him
small
down.
little boats. It's
Of course they turned him down.
What about the big boats?
They're just like, no, we're going to use human life. What do you mean, like fucking remote control? You mean we can actually save lives? No. That's not the point of war.
Yeah, I know, right?
A good general racks up at least 3,000 kills under his command.
Yeah, we didn't build all this shit to like save people. Including ourselves.
So he's still, he's working nonstop, always working.
Always working.
He's 143 pounds, and he stayed that way a majority of his life.
200 years old.
He was also 6'2".
Damn. Lanky man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you look like a vampire probably. Like, I am Tesla.
Yep.
Hello, Mr. Tesla. Opens the door like, nah.
Just floats through the door.
Yeah, you never
Doesn't
see him
even
take a step.
Yeah, he doesn't walk.
But
He's got those electric shoes.
he's not coming up with anything that anyone wants to buy. So his investors are running out.
Of course not. Yeah, because
Anyone want to buy this tower?
Well, eventually in 1915, there's a foreclosure on the tower.
You're telling me.
Oh, you're telling me.
You're telling me the guy that wanted to shock people's brains to make them smarter couldn't come up with an idea? Oh, my God.
To make money?
And it's at this point that he started just living in hotels. And that's the way it stayed for the rest of his life. He just bounced around hotels. One hotel actually kicked him out after like 20 years because he wouldn't pay his bills.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for him.
I'm gonna say I side with the hotel on that. I normally don't, in this kind of situation.
20
but 20 years,
It's a long time.
they're kind of putting up with your shit.
After 1 year. Hey man, can you like pay? You get your rent when I get my electricity. Like Bully McGuire.
It must have been like that guy in like Lebowski that's asking him for the rent. That's all like sheepish and like a pushover.
Every time you open the door, it's like lightning bolts flying everywhere. It's like, we'll come back to
It's like, yeah, we'll leave you be.
dogs barking.
Probably just set up a Tesla coil outside of the room, and then every time they came near, it's just like
It's like a storm cloud always around it. It's like, hey, Mr. Tesla, almost like lightning shock under the door. Blue lights. About that rent. That 20 years of rent.
every time he opens the door, his hair is standing on end.
Another hotel kicked him out because he had a tendency during his breaks in
Kill
work
dogs via electricity.
to go out and feed a bunch of pigeons, and then they sort of just followed him back and would just make a mess everywhere and just had pigeons hanging out.
It's getting
They're
chased
like,
by
we
the
can't
pigeons."
have this.
He says, we can't have this, so I have a solution.
Made the pigeons smarter.
Oh, see, he wasn't paying bills.
He made the pigeons smarter, and then they started working for him.
So they followed him home. It's like living in the trees. It's so good when you can live in an apartment. We're coming with you, Nikola.
Finally,
You guys gotta pay some rent.
finally, around 1922, he landed in the New Yorker Hotel. New Yorker Hotel. But it's at this time that the Westinghouse Company came back and
Well, hello.
started giving him a $127 monthly fee and paid his rent. Because George Westinghouse wanted to pay him back for
What a nice
ripping
man.
up the patents that saved his business.
Yeah, would have been nice 20 years ago, George.
Can you
Thanks.
When I was following my dreams of electricity.
Better late than never, I
It's
suppose.
like, hey guys, it's like, do you just pay my rent? It's like, oh yeah, we'll pay your rent. It's like for the last 20 years. I'm like, I got a lot of rent to pay.
Now, he's always been a solitary man.
Oh really? Just doesn't even walk.
Never has,
Skinny, scary.
yeah. Never had a relationship with a woman. Very few friends. But on his...
No sparks ever flew.
In 1931...
Juan.
1931...
He moved to Mexico.
Met the love of his life.
someone thought up the idea for him to celebrate his 75th birthday. He's like, okay,
You've never done what? You've never had a celebration.
you've never had a party before, Nikola.
Too busy killing dogs.
You've worked your entire life. After a lifetime of work, you've never had fun.
Have a party. More than 70 pioneers in science and engineering showed up, including Albert Einstein.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that cute?
And he was also featured on the cover of Time magazine that year.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that cute?
Like him and Hitler. I was like next year.
yeah, yep, exactly.
Good job, Time.
Really?
They're both dabbing.
And Nikola enjoyed the experience so much, he decided to make it an annual thing. So he just...
Maybe celebrations for me are fun. It would have thunk. All this alteration and praise from like Albert Einstein and shit. He's like, oh, why not wait to do this?
And he sort of uses it as a chance to like talk to people about his inventions.
You know what I've been doing for the last 75 years?
As he's getting up there. Because he doesn't really
Not
talk...
paying rent.
Well, now he doesn't have to. Westinghouse is paying his rent. True. So, he just spends the whole year just
Freeloader.
doing his own thing, inventing things, and then at this party, he'll just tell everyone about him. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's
Here's
cool.
the pile of dogs.
Like, he developed a death ray. And people were like, oh, that's a neat idea. He's like, it's not an idea. I built it and used it. It works.
The window opens up.
Yeah, I tested it, and I would like to introduce you all to my death ray.
I've named it Juan. No.
And now for a demonstration.
Which one of you likes me the best, or least?
In the fall of
Albert, get over here.
In 1937,
Albert created the nuke so he could fight against Tesla's death ray. That's where the initial thoughts came. Gets with Oppenheimer. I'm like, hey, dude, have you seen that death ray?
Yeah, the inspiration. It's like, dude,
He saw the atom splitting when he saw the death ray pointed at his face.
this man could control the world. We must stop him.
well, in
Let's test it on Japan.
in 1937, he still has the tendency to walk out and feed pigeons, and he gets hit by a car.
I mean,
And it's kind of ironic that there's a car brand named after him. Dude, his brother got killed by the horse, and he gets killed by the car.
The fucking
the whole family just like planes are falling, just modes of transportation.
It comes full circle.
Comes full Tesla.
Like he's like, I'm gonna invent like
he
electricity.
doesn't die. He
It's like
doesn't
the
die.
current was complete.
He
He doesn't die, but he doesn't go to the hospital because he doesn't like physicians. Like he's just one of those.
So he gets hit by a car.
And then he
Like
doesn't go to the
how fast was his car going? He's just like,
I mean, but he's lanky still, and he's getting up there. So,
so maybe
he's
that
probably even
lankiness, like
smaller.
maybe he had extra like what is it?
And also,
Like,
he was
could stretch.
he was
more.
living off of a diet of milk and crackers, so he was probably pretty skinny. So even the slightest touch would probably break a bone on this guy.
Breakfast of champions.
Breakfast of pigeons.
Indeed.
Oh.
But yes, in January 7th, of 1943, he has a cardiac issue and passes away. 2 days later, the FBI comes
They bring him back to life.
and seizes all of his notes and stuff. And a man named John G. Trump, a professor at MIT and a well-known electrical engineer, was tasked with sorting through all of the notes. I'm assuming he was looking for the death ray, but that's just Jason's opinion.
I feel like Jason G.
Trump's
I mean, when everyone had been looking for the death ray, like, he built it. Like, where's the death ray? Like, where did he keep it? In the closet?
right. The death ray was really his mind.
The pigeons are, like, carrying it away. Woo! And they look at the camera. Woo! Dare.
You have given us the tools to build pigeon society free from human intervention. We will return one day with the weapons to take over this world.
Rise of the Planet of the Pigeons.
Thanks, Tesla. He's playing the long game.
The pigeon goes up and says, no.
That's why Elon wants to get to Mars. He knows the pigeons will return one day.
Have you ever looked up and seen birds? Sure you have. Just think about it.
He cleared it, though. Like, he didn't find anything or anything that would be too...
They didn't find the death ray.
On January 12th, 2,000 people attended a state funeral for him at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in Manhattan. And then his body was taken to Ardsdale, New York, where it was cremated.
Man,
Well,
they should have
after
electrocuted it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, they probably did experiments. They're like, let's see if some of this brain shit.
Oh, yeah, the first electrocution,
will-
by the way, didn't work.
Like death penalty.
Yeah, the first electrocution.
That must have been fun.
They
death
didn't,
by electrocution.
Yeah.
Didn't actually death.
he didn't die.
It
the
didn't
first
death
time.
them.
Yeah. Undeathed.
Anyway, is that it for our
Yeah,
story?
that is Tesla.
All right.
Man before his time. Wireless technology.
He
Death
saw it.
rays? We still don't have a death ray.
He was just
We have the Moab.
That you know of. Yeah.
So we have things.
he was just limited by his time.
The
technology.
CIA has the heart attack gun.
It's true. We got to have a ray somewhere.
All right. So let's get to the shill stuff.
Chill.
Jill.
Oh, you did it again. Ultimate shows, big power.
Rehash that. Give us 5 stars on iTunes. Give us 5 Teslas.
Give us 5 Warden.
Actually, yeah,
Warden
real,
towers.
real.
Or don't give us anything. You know, it doesn't matter. It's free content. So whatever.
Take
If
it or
you feel
leave
the
it.
need to
Take
give us
it
a
or leave it.
Tesla.
If you are
If the
listening,
Lord compels you.
if you are listening, but you like watching when we're on YouTube, and then you can watch us there and see us, and then judge our appearances and drive us to suicide. It's a good
That's what we do.
pastime that the internet likes to play. Sort yourself out. Follow us on the social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter.
You've heard of him.
We post full episodes on IGTV as well.
Ig.
And word of mouth is the best advertising that we can get because, you know, I'm not going to pay for any fake bullshit, you know, to promote our stuff to people that don't even give a shit. So, you know, tell people that you think might like it, and that's how we'll grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
How about that?
We've been getting lots of downloads recently. So, you know,
Thank you.
thanks for listening, folks. We
Hey.
appreciate you.
Dox us. Wait.
Maybe don't do that or whatever, you know, in this day and age.
It'll be
it doesn't
fun,
matter.
maybe.
Yeah,
Who knows?
whatever.
You can email us at HistoricHole@gmail.com. Like, you know, don't do that, please. Actually,
I mean, you can.
I never check it. So even if you do,
I'm
it's
like,
not
you,
like
you
I'll
might
see it,
have
so-
already done it
Yeah.
like months ago.
possibly.
In which case-
I
You might
literally
hear
don't
us say it like every week, like, "Oh, I'll check the email." Like, "Oh, well, I emailed you." Yeah, but there's all this
Dang.
like constructiveness, like, "Oh, we were gonna give you 5
There's-
Teslas." Elon Musk was like, "I thought it was funny."
20 free
We
advertising.
have 20 emails we haven't read and someone's life story. They're no longer with us because we didn't answer the
maybe,
email.
maybe someone was like reaching out to us at Historical, but unfortunately, we're not Therapist Hole, so
Coming soon.
go see somebody. Yeah, we're not here to make you feel better.
or at least it's incidental.
Yes, any joy we bring is simply an accident. We here at Historical.
So for the statement of the week this week is maybe the real friends are the boats that we got stuck along the way. Life is full of holes. Enter wisely.
Bye.
Good job, Egypt.